Hello, welcome in. It's Chi Time with me, Clara Apollo. I'm here on this, it's a Friday, like late afternoon here in the UK. I'm in Somerset, on the Somerset Levels, which is near to Glastonbury. So if you're on the live, let me know and we can do comments back and forth and that will be fun. As you know, usually here on Chi Time, I have extraordinary guests with me and have another one lined up for next Friday. We have Amanda Ellis back in the room, so that's going to be really good. We went out for because she's quite pretty, well, not that far away from me. We've been friends for a long time. And we went out for a walk on the beach a couple of weeks ago and we're just so engrossed in conversation. I mean, we could have been out there for days. It really felt like we were walking up the beach for like hours and hours and hours, it felt. And then the light started to go and we realized we had to turn around and come back again. But that was just so glorious to kind of be in that space with her. So yeah, we're going to carry on our conversation with you next Friday. But this Friday, I am here to speak with you and to share with you about elemental Qigong and to, really let you know why I bang on about it all the time and also to demystify what it's about. So I'm sure those of you watching have already done Qigong, you know what it's like, energy work, personal energy cultivation work. Hang on, I'm just going to get all this text settled and then I can get into the zone. Good. That's the thing, trying to, do all the bits and pieces. So, and getting into the zone really is this. And I've entitled this Turn Onto Your Chi. And that's what I'm here to do. I know lots of other things that I do, but the main thing is helping you turn on your speciality, for want of a better way of describing it. So what is Chi? It is your life force energy. And like my yin yang symbol in the back here reminds us that we've got the light and the dark, the in and the out. And these are like aspects of duality within our world that form the whole, form the unifying principle of all that is. And we use these opposites to describe one another. So we're aware of the out breath because of the in breath. We're aware of the day because of the night. But the opposite of Chi is no Chi, which is physical death. And we don't really have a remit for that while we're alive. And so we very much take advantage of the natural energy that's running through us all the time because it's always there. I mean, I don't know if you remember when you were like a teenager, you felt you had boundless energy and this was just there for you and you would bounce back from whatever you were doing, late nights, partying, you'd bounce back. And then towards your late 20s, early 30s, you weren't bouncing back so much. And this happened to me in my early 30s. I had a small child, my lovely son. He was about 4 at the time. I was a performance artist and costume designer in London, UK. And I would juggle being a mum with doing that costume design work and performance work. So that tended to be at night in the evenings. And so I could be mum during the day when he got back home from school, all of that kind of stuff. And I was burning the candle at as many ends as I could find. You know the feeling. In fact, I used to pride myself. There's a photograph of me holding a candle with both ends burning. I thought that was really funny and clever. Little did I know what I was doing to my energy. I was really depleting it and I was feeling tired a lot and I was oscillating between really like, was I doing percolated coffee during the day and then spliffs at night? It was like, I didn't understand how my energy system worked. And I didn't know what, when I had a small child, where was my energy? He was, like kids are really full of energy. What do you do? So I was curious. And then what happened was, as often does, is your body speaks to you very loud and very clearly, usually with an ache or a pain, something hugely inconvenient. And with me, it was punishing repetitive strain injury on both of my arms. And I had it a little bit when I was breastfeeding him. I think it was the holding the arms in that position. But because of all the stitching and all the drawing and all of that stuff, repetitive on the it was actually a tendonitis that I had. But it was a really bad one. And I was in the middle of creating these bespoke wedding dresses and doing seed pearls and crystals. It was beautiful work, working on velvet. And this dull ache then became like a sharp pain, and I literally could not move my arm anymore. It was like, what have I done? I had to really immobilize it. I had to put it in splints. This one was but worse than that. This one was pretty bad, but this was the worst one. And went up to the doctors, and they prescribed, anti-inflammatories and all of that, but basically said that I had to rest it, and not easy when you've got a 4-year-old, and that they were suggesting kind of Western medicine type remedies like steroid injections, which I thought at the age of 32 was really not really what I wanted. So I began to investigate other alternative therapies, and I was having physio for my arms, and I asked the physio if there was any acupuncture on the National Health Service here in the UK, and indeed there was. And so I got some Western acupuncture, and then that really piqued my curiosity, because that really helped. And I started to look into the Eastern, the traditional Chinese medicine. I thought, we're onto something here. I'll just backtrack a little bit, because true health has always been part of my remit. It's part of why I am here. I mean, from the age of 8, I wanted to be a nurse. And I got into nursing college and did my 3.5 years and staff nurse up in Oxford at the John Radcliffe. And then I really struggled to be working in such a disease-orientated program. I have a lot of respect for the nurses and the doctors, of course, but I could no longer do it. And I then stepped out of that and went to art college to do printed textiles. Throughout my school life, I was always into arts and science, very Leonardo da Vinci, but, it was a part of something that always interested in what true health is. What is this? Why are we talking about symptoms and being ill instead of how we preventing these things from happening? And that is still really my remit. That's why I'm here, to look at not only how to alleviate symptoms and how to self-care properly, but also how to prevent these things happening in the first place. And I mean, I'm still work in progress. I haven't got it all sussed yet, but it keeps me intrigued. I'm like, okay. So back to the arm. So I was having massages, and it was all very nice, but I wanted to find something that I could do for myself. And I was having some healing one day, and the chap that was doing the healing said to me, what you would probably enjoy is doing some qigong. And I was like, what are you talking about? I don't even know what those words mean. Qi what? He said, it's an ancient form of movement exercise that's derived from like traditional Chinese medicine. And with your history of being a ballet dancer and a nurse, I think you'd find it very interesting. And that he was doing his training and was running small groups. This was up in Stoke Newington, London, back in the mid-90s. And so I did. I went down there a couple of days later, and just like landed there. And with qigong, you land in the standing posture in the wu qi, and just thought, what's this about? Everyone's just standing. This looks really boring. And then he started to talk through what it was you're considering while you're standing. So let's do this now. So either while you're standing, why don't we stand, as I've been mentioning the standing. So this is it. So you can do this sitting, of course, but it's the postural considerations which I find utterly fascinating. So you want your feet to be just over hip width apart, with the toes pointing forwards. You want to have a little bit of ease in your ankles and your knees, up to a little bit of a bounce, and that gives me that ease in ankles and knees. Taking a deep breath in, softening your belly. And then as you breathe out, let yourself sink down into meeting the earth. I know. How often do we do that? So this opens up an energetic connection with the planet that we're on, our amazing planet Earth, that is got so much energy within her that she just wants to give us. Look at how she grows trees and flowers and fruit and vegetables and all sorts, and look how strong that power is. You've all seen a little flower or plant growing up through concrete or tarmac. That's how powerful the energy of the earth is, and that's there for you. So as you sink down into the earth and bring your awareness into your body, there's part of you that begins to merge with the earth, or that it recognizes that frequency of the earth. And I just was so fascinated. I mean, I've been teaching this for well over 20 years now, and it's part of how I self-care. But just having that experience of connecting with the earth, and I mean, I would love to have the opportunity to share more with you. And I've been doing this over on the Facebook page, the Cheeky Temple, ChiQitemple. And some of you are already over there, I know. And I also have a session happening next Tuesday, which I will put some information in the text at the bottom of this so that you have access to that. But so I then just became very fascinated by this. So, I only did the bottom half of it, but when you come into how you're aligning your spine and your jaw and your head and the top of your neck and your arms and your shoulders, it made a sense from an internal perspective. Do you know what I mean? This isn't what it looks like. It's how it feels to you to be embodied in your amazing apparatus, the miracle of this flesh suit machinery, this fine-tuned work of art that is yours for a short amount of time. Let's face it, your spirit, your soul gets to inhabit this body that has been made for you, and we haven't had to do it. We just turn up in it, and here we go. So we take it we take advantage of it. We take it for granted a lot, don't we? And because we have this bounce back factor, because that remit at the center of us is that you will heal. Every single cell in you knows how to find the balance point, knows how to heal. This is amazing. That isn't spoken about much, is it, these days, when we are being encouraged to pump our bodies full of pharmaceuticals. But we know Qigong practitioners, teachers, and other energy healers, what we do with this practice is bring ourselves into a place where the healing can occur. It's like anyone that does Reiki, that you're not the healer. You're not making somebody better. You're bringing in the high frequency vibrational energy that their system can then choose to bring into them, resonate with, and come into frequency with, and balance out and heal. So yeah, any questions? Not yet. Okay, never mind. I'll just carry on chatting about Qigong. So after that first session that I did, after the standing, we then did the movements from there, and this opening of the joints. I love that idea of opening joints rather than kind of exercising. I try not to use the word exercise, because what we're doing is more expressing. We're letting the physical body express itself. And there's always an internal component with the Qigong that I share, certainly, which is referred to as Negung. It's that way of bringing your mind inside. It's the harnessing the power of your mind, that intention, and giving it something to consider that is that enhances your natural energetic patterning and highways of Qi. And so I got this, I'll show you the first book that I got. So I said to my teacher, so I want to read about this. It's just amazing. Because from having been a costume designer for 15 years, I had chock-a-block in my shoulders, and the wrists, as you know, my arms were like really stagnated. And so it took me about 3 years to unwind all of that. And I was going to classes about 2 or 3 times a week. but I wanted to read about this. I wanted to know about it. My mind was deeply curious. Something had been clicked off. This was something I could do for myself. I could take it anywhere. I could be with the breath. I could be with the bouncing. I could be with the turning. I could presence myself in this kindness. And yeah, it was actually brought me into mindfulness before mindfulness was a popular word. But this, my friends, is the book that Jed Sumner was my first teacher. This was the book that Ken Cohen's written. So I'm sure those of you that practice Qigong know this book, The Way of Qigong, The Art and Science of Chinese Energy Healing. And so this is such a in fact, this is my second book, because I had the first one I had was stolen out my car. Oh yeah, anyway, let's not go there. So this was bought for me by my bunch of wonderful Chi family up in London. They all clubbed together and helped me replace the books that had been stolen. I know, it was really lovely. And when I finished my training, which is like 4 years in London at the College of Elemental Qigong, and I thought, well, who's going to be my next teacher? And I thought, well, who would you like to be your next teacher? And I'm like, well, I would love to train with Ken Cohen. I wonder if that's ever going to be possible, because I know that he was out in Colorado in the US and he never came to the UK. I think he came over in the year 2000 and I missed him and it didn't happen. And so I just held that thought, and I knew that there were other teachers, and I was asking the universe, who's my next teacher? And yeah, there are other books that I looked at, and I'm looking at them all now. I've got them all together, which is fantastic. I didn't have them all together for 5 years, so it's really beautiful that I have my collection with me again now. I was a house sitter. I didn't have a home between 2014 and 2019. And that's actually part of the story of how Qigong has supported me through some of the key stages of my life. We'll come back to the Ken story in a minute. But so initially, when I was a young mum, I had to change my career because I could no longer be a costume designer. I found different ways of healing myself through the injury. So I did homeopathy as well as shiatsu, cranial sacral work, and then the Qigong for myself. And then Reiki came into my life, and I found that synergy between Reiki and Qigong. Woo, love it. And I'm going to be doing a live on that really soon too. So this bringing yourself back to yourself, knowing that you can heal yourself, is such an important piece for where we are right now. This personal empowerment. You are the one that you've been waiting for. You've heard that phrase. It is really true. When we give ourselves to ourselves, it is hugely powerful. It's such a message of like respect for the self. And you think how often it's easier for you to give to others. Like we've been trained to do that. Give to others, give to others. That's how it rolls. It's like, but if we don't give to ourselves, then we're going to end up depleted. And not only are we not going to be able to then give to others so easily, but we're also going to become needy and need others to look after ourselves. So this piece about you pop the oxygen mask on first, the heart pumps blood to its muscle walls before around the body. We do need to get this piece. And that, I feel, is why Qigong is becoming so much more popular now, because it's the missing link in a lot of our self-care practices. And it weaves beautifully with yoga and mindfulness meditation and Pilates and other energy healing work. It can even be taken into the corporate arena or into care homes or into schools. It's hugely tailorable for what you need it to be. So I was in 2014, I was going through the menopause, I'll confess, and I was running 15 classes a week, teaching Qigong, Tai Chi, and meditation. I was living with a guy who had lost his job. I was therefore needing to earn as much as possible to keep our home. And I'd had enough. I was getting punishing headaches. I'd lost my own practice. I wasn't happy in the relationship. And I just was feeling very feisty, like, oh, I have to make a difference here. I want to get my practice back. I'm going through a major change here. I need to look after myself. I'm done. And my dear friend was over helping me with some accounts. I remember my head on the floor going, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do this anymore. And she said to me, you don't have to do it anymore. You could choose something different. I'm like, oh, in which case, if I could choose something different, that's indicating to me that I'm choosing this. I'm choosing to stay in this discombobulation. Well, first of all, it's like a smack on the back of the head. And then it was like, yeah, but I could choose differently. So I then went for a long walk. I was cogitating, well, what else? How can I do this? And I got it. I thought, well, I know it's radical, but I knew that I had to stop teaching 15 classes a week. It was too much. And I was getting more and more into weekend workshops and into creating a teacher training program and the Reiki Qigong and all of that. And I needed to end the relationship. So it pinged in one of those light bulb moments, and it was, you could become a house sitter. You could just give the keys back to the landlord, tell your boyfriend to go back wherever he came from, and just dare yourself to see what's next. So, all right then, let's give it a go. So I made this announcement. Everyone thought I was mad. Well, I was slightly mad as menopausal, but I was right. I knew I was onto something here. And that phrase of like, when you make a bold decision like that, the universe comes to meet you. I really believe that. And well, because I was shown that as well. I felt like the that picture of the fool in the tarot deck, where he's got just his little knapsack on his back, and he's like just about to step off the cliff. That's how I felt. Like, I don't know where I'm going here, but I know that I have to. This is a portal I need to go through. There's something else for me in my life. And literally, I went away and did a Qigong retreat in Austria, and I came back to the UK, packed up the apartment, and then went to a little rest fest up in Salisbury, Wiltshire. Landed with my friends there. They'd made me a tent for the night, so I had a bed for the night. I had a bottle of wine from where I'd come in, and was sharing it with people. And they were saying, "What are you doing?" I was saying, "Well, I'm looking for somewhere. Has anybody got anything?" And a lovely lass who I hadn't seen for ages, so lovely to catch up with her. She said, well, my daughter's just gone off to university and she's not in her room anymore. You're welcome to come and stay there for a bit. I'm like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And this opened up a really beautiful time for me with this friend. We got to know each other so much more from us living alongside one another. We were there for like 3 months. It was really beautiful. It was just around the corner from my dear auntie, who you might hear me speak about again and again, who was the opera singer, she was the closest to me in my family, really. She really got me. And yeah, so that's another story. But I was close to her, so I could go and visit her, which was just such a gift. And then it was in this time of year actually, and there was all these torrential rainfalls coming, and which we're used to in the UK. We get a lot of rain, but this was relentless and it was pounding. And there was one night, there was an almighty crash, and all the rainwater just pouring into her bathroom, and it was like, what is going on? We had to get emergencies out anyway. So what had to happen was, she then needed to rebuild the roof and the bathroom that was adjoining her bedroom, and the only room that she could stay in and sleep in was the room I was in. So she said, I'm really sorry, but you can't stay here anymore. And I thought, okay, but thank you for the last 3 months. Open out to my community again. Anybody going away over Christmas need me to look after their pets, And indeed, my next friend came in and said, yes, we have. And then someone else said, I'm going away for a couple of months in the new year. Could you da, 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 da. And it went on. I'm like, I didn't even have to join up with trusted house sitters. I was supposed to be on this path. And the decluttering occurred, because you can't carry more than a car's worth around with you. I got my practice back. And this is what became my home. I realized that my home is within me. And I take that feeling of home within me wherever I am in the world. And it's my Qigong practice that has helped me to realize what home feels like inside, and where to place myself if I feel a bit. And it's this place in my belly. It's the home in my belly. It's a magical place. It's a processing plant. It's a rechargeable battery unit. All sorts of magic goes on in there, and powering up and potency and connection. It's like a barometer for all the bullshit. It deeply supports my heart frequency. And I feel like my heart is like a rose, and it's got its stem deep in the soil of my Dantian, because that's the name of these energy places in Qigong. And the Dantian means an elixir field of bliss. So it's not a chakra. Chakra is a spinning wheel. And there's a definite connection with the chakras and the Dantians, but they're different energetic structures. So I'm fascinated. My mind's fascinated, and my body is feeling different. So this new sense, I grew and grew. I mean, I obviously had up days and down days, but I knew that this was part of me homing myself for wherever I then went. And I did go on some right old journeys. At one point, I was living halfway down a cliff in Cornwall in a little beach hut, basically. But I was there for 4 months. I didn't have to think about anybody else, but I had no Wi-Fi, it had no heating, and it was right on the edge of life, and it was in the elements. I'd see fantastic thunderstorms, and it was amazing, but it was also really tough. That was my deep dive. But I'm forward. So I was out in Austria, and my dear friend, who was running the events company that I was doing radio shows to connect with the people that are coming on there, she decided that she wanted to sell it, and she wanted to know if I would like to buy it off her and become an events organizer, because it's something that I could do when I was on the road. All I needed to do was have my laptop and dip in and out of the UK, which I was doing anyway, to teach the Qigong teacher training. So I inherited a little bit of money from my dear auntie who passed. And so I thought, yeah, I'm going to do this. So I took on Conscious Living Events in 2016. And the first guest that I had, the first speaker I had, was Barefoot Doctor, who, as you know, has been in and out of Chi Time. He's always supported Chi Time Radio, and he's been on Chi Time TV several times. You can see the replays here. He became a mentor and a friend, and yeah, but he sadly died last January. So that was quite a thing. But when I took over Conscious Living Events, Claire said to me, she said, well, out of anyone in the whole world, who would you like to invite over into your events company? And yeah, you know who I was going to say, Ken Cohen. And she said, I don't even know who you're talking about. I said, it's all right, you don't have to know, but I would love Ken Cohen to come over and do some training in the UK. And wouldn't that be amazing? Thinking, how is that ever going to happen? I was on his newsletter, and he was advertising for coming over to Europe, to Portugal. I'm like, that's not far away from the UK. And so I immediately emailed him and said, would you like to come over? And he said, yes. So yeah, this is a magical world that we live in, isn't it? And when your energy is aligned, which your Qigong practice can really help you with, because it helps to harmonize your mind, your body, and your spirit, because we are one unit here. We are in this harmonizing frequency. And when we can do that for ourselves, we also bring that energy into the world. Then that which wants to birth through you is able to do it much easier. And I say that we have intentions. I mean, it's not that, not like The Secret, where I'm wanting to have a red sports car or whatever. I want to have a happy, healthy life with the best coming through for people, for humanity to evolve to its ultimate, really, and for to be living in communities that support one another, that are interested in all the different gifts that are coming through, and maybe using exchange mechanisms that are not monetary based but more realistic, like seeds. Always thought seeds are like money. And that along the way, yeah, I'd like to do that creative project with so-and-so, that would be good. Or I really feel like the kind of partner that I would love to have in my life, just imagining and feeling that heart sense with them and resonating with that, rather than thinking, tall, dark, handsome and all of that external stuff. It's more how you're feeling on the inside. And my Qigong practice has helped me to recognize that truth within me of my essence and my aspects of soulfulness. And yeah, that truth barometer, it's enabled me to trust myself more than anybody else. And that's the piece I think is really important for where we are today. That no matter whether you're sitting on the fence, right, left, up, down, political views, or if you can trust yourself and you know where that place is within you that you can really come to and bring in the new bit of information and go, how's that sitting with me? Does that resonate with me or not? And to trust that truth before the mind gets involved. And I'm pointing at my heart here, tends to be in the heart, but also in the belly. I said earlier, these two places are really inextricably linked. And yeah, so hey, hello, Audrey and Rebecca. Yeah, I know. I have. It's just been a share to come on and share what Qigong has meant for me in my life, and actually, it's the whole story starting to come out, and I don't often get a chance to tell what's gone on in my life, and I now live in my 2-roomed bungalow on the top of a hill in Somerset. I don't have a partner at the moment. I don't even have a pet. I have a really good friend lives up the road, and I have some great pals over in Glastonbury, and I have all of you here online. But I'm so grateful every day that I have my own home again. I've been here for over a year, and I'm able to do this sort of stuff. Oh, thank you. Yeah. And Audrey just said it's been interesting to hear my story. Yeah, there's more. But what I'd like to get to is this piece of how the Qigong work has been through me. So when did I start training? In about 1994. And it's been this underpinning for everything I do, you know? And I go away and I come back in. I go away and I come back in. You think that's what we do. We expand and we draw in. We open and we condense. And that, you think, that's like your breath, isn't it? Like you're breathing in and out. This is part of how the universe works as well. We're not constantly open. We're not constantly closed. There's an ease here. Although I must say the universe is constantly expanding at the moment, but within it is this ebb and flow, this wave of the breath of life that runs through all of us. And that's what's central to Qigong practice. And so to find an exercise form, or I use that word exercise, but to find a movement and meditation form that is supportive of creative work, of healing work, of collaborative connection and community and kindness, all that self-compassion, it takes you into deep places that can be quite challenging as well, because as you're unwinding old blocks and old tensions and stagnations, then what's been held beneath that will come up for clearing. And as I always say, if it comes up for clearing, it's ready to go. It might need it to let you know it's on its way out. It might have a story for you, it might show you something, and it's good to get support through that. So the other strings to my bow is I do EFT and emotrance and EFT and Metatronic healing and color psychology. And that's really helped with assisting people through any processes that have come up through their Qigong practice. So yeah, I know. So thank you, Ellen. Yeah. It's giving you a lot of reassurance. I know when we hear other people's stories of how they get through and the difficulties in their lives, and you think, yeah, I can do this. And I think that's what's so interesting, to hear people's stories. How did you get through? What did you do then? And that kind of thing. Indeed. So what I'm wanting to keep coming back to is this underpinning of having a practice that takes care of you. And it varies according to how you are. I mean, how often have you sat in meditation and sort of thought, oh, but I'm aching, my body's not happy, I can't quite settle. And the number of people who after their Qigong practice then sit in meditation and go, whew, that's the longest I've been able to sit. My mind was still and quiet. It's like, well, yeah, because you've attended to the energetic, physical dynamic. So you've cleared, the body's in flow. Your meridian lines flow like a continuous loop then. So you're in a place of more harmony and balance. So your meditation just becomes more available because you've taken care of some of the things that can sometimes pull you away from your meditation focus. And that Qigong is a moving meditation. Just I gave you that little example of standing at the beginning, that when you become immersed in the now moment of like, how do my fingers feel? How is my elbow? I hadn't even thought of that. Or how is all that being supported by my spine? And what would happen if I just move that a little bit? You just become engrossed in the now moment. You give your mind something to consider that is of importance to that moment. You're working as a whole holistic unit. So yeah, I mean, I know I do wax on about it, but what I'd love to do is give you the opportunity to experience some of that. So there's various ways we can do this. If you're on Facebook, I do have a group called the Cheeky Temple, ChiQiTemple, which I may have given you an invite to if you're on my mailing list here, which I think you are. That is going on, and at the moment I'm doing free sessions at 5 o'clock UK every day up until the solstice, as I'm really feeling this calling to clear and align, so that on the solstice day we can be of the greatest help for humanity. So Ellen, where do you recommend we start if we're beginning the practice? Well, I have an introduction to Qigong session next Tuesday, 5:15 UK time. That's going to be about 2 hours. I'm going to do a little chat, and then I'm going to give you an hour's session where we go into the standing, we'll do a bit of shaking, a bit of unwinding, and then we'll do some gathering. So you'll learn about how to let go of the old and receive the new. I won't go into the details here, but that's the fundamentals there, and it's much easier than you think. It's almost like the less you do, the more you hand over to your system that is ready to do that kind of work, if we get rid of tension, stress, anxiety, fear. So there's a lot of ways that we can do that in the practice. So you can drop me an email on cheekytemple@gmail.com, ChiQiTemple@gmail.com. I have a website, claraapollo.com. That introduction to elemental Qigong is on there. And yeah, I will put a link to it at the bottom of this after we've stopped going live. So, or maybe I can just put this in here for you now, Ellen. Just be in touch, because yeah, it's yeah, it's a thing, as what I was going to say, and it's a thing that keeps bringing me back in. And I'm an ex-dancer as well, so to have movement within meditation, I mean, I used to like yoga, and I still do some yoga, but for me, I love the fluid movements. And if you do yoga and that helps to clear the stagnation in the body, then you're ready for the Qigong. So you would do yoga as a preparation for your Qigong play. And this is about getting the meridian lines to flow, and to clear the byproducts of stress and anxiety out of the system, and enhance the body organs. So I share elemental Qigong, so we work with the 5 elements and air. I can chat to you about air as well, because I very much come from a shamanic background too. And we make it so it makes sense for you in the moment. So actually what we're doing is I share and make suggestions for you, and you take on board what makes sense for you, because you're growing your Qigong practice. Qigong is energy cultivation work, or play, as I like to say. So Meg, yeah, a regular Qigong practice. Well, come over to the Cheeky Temple on Facebook, because we've got sessions going on every day. In fact, I need to get over there in 20 minutes. So you need to request access. If you're not on Facebook, drop me a line on the Cheeky Temple and I will send you info about Tuesday's session. And because that's going to be on Zoom, and you'll get to do some Q&As, and then I've got some ideas as to how to support you moving forwards. You see, I had to take all my in-person sessions and classes online back in March, and it's been quite a transition for me, but I'm getting there. I'm getting to, I've been running 6-week courses ever since then, really, and been meeting all of you and sharing what we can and what we do. And of course, with any of the online trainings, you have the beauty of replay. And one of the key points with Qigong is repetition. You know, when you want to create a new pathways of integrity, stuff that makes sense, you need to keep repeating it. So although some of the movements are very, very easy, it's the repeating them. I'm going to leave you with one movement. Okay. So this is the great wheel of Qi. And you stand with your feet hip width apart, shoulders relaxed, spine straight. So you feel yourself being drawn up from the crown, so the back of your neck lengthens, jaw relaxes. You've got a bit of ease in your ankles and knees, stroking under the lower back. Easy breathing. And we're going to just circulate the energy. So the palms face forwards, they glide up, they curve over at the top, and then they slide down. And obviously be aware of how your shoulders are. You might want to do a small movement. And easy, always go for the easy way, breathing in and up, and out and down. Breathing in and up. And as you breathe out and down, intend to clear down your body, anything that's ready to leave, and let that clearing sense travel down your legs, through your feet, and down deep, deep into the earth. This creates space, so when you bring the new Qi up, somewhere for it to go. So it's like the Qi is now washing you all the way through, clearing you down, calming, easing, soothing. So do 9 of those. See how you get on. Let's just do one more because I want to show you how to finish. So when you come into completing, you want to come into the crossed hand position at the belly. So with that, women, we put our right hands on first, so the palm is just underneath the belly button, and then the left hand comes over the right one. For any chaps watching, it's the opposite. And then that brings your awareness down into the Dantian, this special reservoir of energy, your rechargeable battery unit, really. You own it, you own this area. Maybe give it a little rub, love your bellies. And then just see how that makes you feel. So, it's been really nice hanging out with you in here. Thank you so much for being on the live and for your questions. Really appreciate that. And any of you watching on replay, #replay, any responses in the comments, I will get back to you and see if I can be of assistance for you here to access your fundamental energy supply, which it's there for you. It's there for you. I didn't realize that when you're born, you are bequeathed a certain amount of energy from the combination of your mum and dad. And that is stored in your kidneys. This is traditional Chinese medicine, remember. It's stored around your kidney area. And that when you use it up, you die. Simple. Except this is why it's really important to look after our kidneys, because any stress depletes kidney Qi. Now, when we do our Qigong practice, mindfulness training like this, we can enhance whatever energy we have left. And, you know, I'm probably older than you think I am. I did tell you I'd gone through the menopause, so I am in my 50s. And this practice has enabled me to get over feeling old and exhausted and weary and given up. I have a vitality to me, and that I'm able to, put energy into things, as well as letting myself know when I have to go and rest, although I'm still working on that, like we all do, some days better than others. But you know what I mean? If I'd known that bit of information when I was a teenager, it would have been useful, but I didn't find that out till I was in my mid-30s. So all these sort of little chi keys that I have, I'd love to share with you, that which I've found out so far, because we are in this together, aren't we? In this life game together. And this is what we're doing. We're sharing our gifts to go, I've got this bit and you've got that bit. And that means we can do that bit because, let's face it, it's all getting a bit crazy out there. So how can we support one another and share what it is we know? So yeah, try that. Yeah. Oh, you just signed up for your Facebook group. Great. Yeah, I need to get over there, don't I? So come in. We've got 15 minutes to go over at the Cheeky Temple. And I will share another little short sequence with you there. Brilliant. Okay, I'm out of here. I'll see you soon. Keep your cheer up, my friend.